street, commuting, long hauls, track, there's not much that the Pan America can't do. What's up, guys? I'm Isaac here at Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, and today we have your pre-owned bike of the week. This 2022 pre-owned Harley-Davidson Pan America Special. So if you know anything about a Harley-Davidson motorcycle, then this is probably not what you're used to. So this is the Harley-Davidson Pan America Special. Now this is the 2022, and it is sharp. Now most distinctively, there were not a ton of these because this was the part of the Enthusiast collection. So in 2022, there was actually an introduction to a series of motorcycles that were dedicated to certain enthusiasts that you would often see riding Harley-Davidson motorcycles. And so to kick that series off, so actually that Enthusiast collection is what we also saw that Fast Johnny collection from. That's probably one of the most popular ones, as well as most recently the Tobacco Fade. Now, this one in particular, this was the first one to get everything started off right, and so this was the GI collection. And so you had the Trike that was actually, the Trike Light Ultra that was actually painted this pretty much same way, and then you had the Pan America, and pretty sharp, and it still is today. And so this is a pre-owned 2022, and it's Pan America. And if you know anything about these bikes, then you know that they absolutely rip. And so, I'll show you how many miles are on it. Actually, we'll go ahead and get it started up here for you. So I will fire it up. Keyless entry, so it uses the key fob security system. We're going to go ahead and ride this thing because it's getting a little bit toasty out here. That seat's going to be warm. One touch start, or I guess technically two if I have to do that and that. Yeah, so see the bike's in neutral, and see, look at that. We have 141 miles on this thing. So we're going to go add like just a couple more and show you guys just how much fun this bike can be. So go do the fancy step on and over because I'm a little bit short for this bike. But this bike does have the adaptive ride height, so it's going to actually lower itself a little bit for you, which is a very nice little feature. So now just hopping on this bike, there's a couple things that are always really nice little reminders. It does have a lot of pretty cool safety enhancements. So it's got tire pressure monitoring, so, you know, if I'm just hopping on this bike, it's super easy to check, because, I mean, I can just go right here on the screen, make sure both my tires are good before I go and ride it. I can make sure my fuel's good, make sure my tire's good, voltage readings are good. I can even check if it's showing any codes. I can do all that from sitting on the bike. So that's pretty sweet. And it does have the stock exhaust, but I think the stock pipe sounds pretty good on this thing, especially when you've got it opened up. Now the windscreen, it does a really good job of keeping some of that wind off of you, but on a kind of cooler, or at least warmer day like this where I really want to feel some of that cooler air, I can just go ahead. I could pull these handguards off if I wanted to, but I'd have to stash them somewhere. So the easiest thing to do is just go ahead, unlatch it, drop that windshield down. I've got a good bit more wind up here around my face. So I got the AC cranked on this whole thing. In 2022, when I first saw this bike, I thought it was cool, but it was, the branding was all around the GI collection, so it almost felt like a stolen valor kind of thing if you went to go ride it. But I think it's well past that. I think it's just cool. It's just cool now. Anyone can support our troops, right? When everyone talks about ADV bikes and how they're these adventure touring bikes are supposed to be. Look at that! Look, I can flat foot it. I think I can flat foot both feet. It's a bit of a stretch, but almost can. I think I can stand. I think I can put my feet down better and easier on this bike than I can my lifted softail. So keep that in mind. So this is just road mode, which you probably don't care about on this bike. But another beautiful thing about this bike is it does have the, I went for the turn signals over there. Turn signals are over here now on this bike. It does have the electronic suspension, so I had it in road mode, which was, just your nice everyday easy going stuff, kind of smooth suspension. But since it's electronic suspension, I can also throw it up in sport, and that'll make the bike react a little bit faster to the inputs I'm giving it, and it'll tighten up that suspension. So it just gives you a whole different riding style, all with one button press, which is pretty cool. And did I mention how fast these things are? Fix that mirror. So this bike doesn't have to be just looked at for on-road off-road. I mean, highway, long distance touring, this bike, like I said, there's not much it can. Like I said, there's not much this bike can't handle. I mean, I've got so much more power to pull on. It's just always ready to go. And it cruises beautifully right here at 70 miles an hour, 4,000 RPMs. So, another thing that's often overlooked is it does have all this power, but it has the suspension and the braking to handle all that power. So it's not just all go. I mean, you can get on the brakes and throw this bike right in the turn wherever you want to. And it just does it all really well. From a riding position, that is the right amount of comfortable and commanding. So yeah, I'm 5'9", 5'10". I don't have any issue getting a foot down on this thing. Now, if you are coming off a Torque Monster Milwaukee 8, one thing that might be a slight hard adjustment to you is you probably do have to crack that throttle open a little bit more than what you're used to. I know one of the first times I spent all day on one of these bikes after coming off my Softail that had a very touchy throttle was stalling this bike. It was so easy to stall this bike because I was so used to just cracking the throttle, whereas this one to get going, you gotta open that throttle up a little bit more. Just with the nature of this motor wanting to be revved up a little bit higher. Recently we did a ride to support the King of the Baggers race team with the Mad Monkey Motorsports and Max Flinders, which if you aren't watching any of that, highly recommend. But we went up to mid-Ohio to catch it, and if you have been up to date, I have not put a foot down yet. How about it? Doesn't matter how tall the bike is if you don't have to put your feet down because it's so stable. But if you've been keeping up with any of those series, then you know that at mid-Ohio, that was also the end of the Super Hooligans National Championship. So it was the championship final round. So we got to see riders riding on a pretty wide range of bikes and just ripping them. And probably if you're a Harley fan, you're probably there to see the baggers, but you probably don't mind seeing what people are doing with those modified Pan Americas. So they're taking Pan Americas because it's an amazing platform, and they're just being super hooligans on them, showing you how hard you can rip those bikes. And I want to say that there's actually a power limit in that class. So I want to say those bikes, those Pan Ams, are also dialed back from what the stock is. Could be wrong, but I want to say there was a big issue last year with them making sure that they were not putting out too much power, which is wild. So, because when you've got 150 horsepower stock, you're dealing with something pretty impressive. And And once again, for the second year in a row, I believe, the Pan America showed itself as the championship, or as the champion, or the bike ridden by the champion. So that's pretty neat to see. But one of the other neat parts about that whole ordeal was we actually rode Pan Americas, or not all of us. 3 of us that rode up there were actually on Pan Americas. I was on my Softail, but there were 3 riders up there riding those bikes. And it was really cool to see and get some feedback from all those other riders. So a couple riders, they were pretty used to riding Pan Ams, and they've ridden a bunch of other bikes, but that's still their go-to. They just love how well those bikes handle. Another one of those riders, they've been off bikes for a while, but they've got a big background in motocross and off-road riding, that they were really impressed with how this bike handled on the road too, and everything it could do and had the potential to do. And so, you know, they didn't have a whole lot of recent experience doing long road trips, but they went ahead and hopped on this thing and hopped on the bike and rode up to Ohio like it was nothing on this thing. So, I mean, I think that pretty much goes to show a testament of the bike and just how easy it is to hop on and go. And, you know, there's so much that's customizable without buying any other parts. I mean, just with how this stock configuration is, there's so much you can do and swap out. One thing that kind of caught me off guard they did, which was pretty impressive. So I'm a little bit of a shorter rider, and this seat actually has 2 seat configurations. It has a lower seat height and it has a higher seat configuration. And so when I hop on one of these bikes, I always make sure that the seat is in the lower configuration. But this rider, they about the same height as me. That's normally what they do, but they actually wanted to stretch their legs out a little bit more because this slight crook on the leg was starting to. They were wanting to stretch their leg out and have their feet a little bit further out than what this configuration does. So they threw the seat in the stock height, and that gave them just another little bit of an inch to have their legs stretched out when it's underneath them. So I hadn't seen anybody do that before, and so that kind of caught me off guard, but it was really cool to be reminded of, you know, the neat little tricks that people find when they put long miles on these bikes to find even more comfort. I mean, you can throw highway pegs up here if you wanted to, if you really wanted to lean in the brother aspect. And we had another rider, Mari. She's ridden both she's one of the few riders that's actually ridden both a Harley-Davidson CVO ST pretty much cross country, as well as a Pan America, CVO Pan America cross country. So she's actually done both. So really hoping to pick her brain on what her thoughts are. Pick her brain on her thoughts as someone that has ridden both those bikes such a long distance. And I mean, she's ridden the CVO ST, and that's been set up and personalized to her liking. And just the stock CVO Pan America has blown, I think it's still blown her away. I mean, who wouldn't be blown away by this? We're not going to open it up. We're not going to open it up that much. This thing's still, if you want to see one of those videos, I think we've got another one later on. Yeah, this bike just drops into the corner so easy. I would really need to spend like a whole day on this bike and then another day on the Pan Am ST, just to see how much more that thing handles. Because if this thing already handles phenomenally, so it'd be wild to see how much better that one does. One thing I have to be conscious of is I stick my toe out pretty far when I ride, where I keep it pretty close to the bike, and that my right toe does get pretty close to that exhaust, so it does warm up a little bit if I'm not careful. And so this road's a little bit bumpy, so I'm going to throw it back in road mode. Go ahead and soften it up some. Yeah, look at that. It just soaks it right up now. Probably wouldn't mind a little bit taller riser. But yeah, so she's ridden both those, and the aluminum bags, the big hard cases that come on the CVO, they are massive. They are huge. And when you're riding behind them, you think, man, like, I am behind a FedEx truck. But when you're using them, it is so nice to have all of that room, and especially with packing. So one thing I thought of, or I noticed, so I'm on a Harley Sport Glide, so I have the Sport Glide bags, or bags that are similar to the ST, or the Lowrider ST. And I have the little inserts in them, so I can take those inserts out and, you know, put my groceries in them and take it upstairs and, you know, fill up my stuff and take them down and throw them on the bike. You know, works out great. But if I wanted to take the bags off, I have to unlatch it from inside the bag. But one thing that's really cool about those bags is the latch to put them on the bike. This thing just blasts out of the curves like crazy. And that's a road mode. Gosh knows. So whatever it is. So the latch is on the outside, which is really cool because you can, you know, stuff the bags full with all of your camping gear. Actually, we're gonna go straight with all of your camping gear and everything. But then when it's time, you know, to take them off and throw them somewhere, you don't even have to open them up. You know, you can make sure all your stuff stays nice and dry and protected. You can just unlatch it from the bike, pop it off, set it down, and go. So that was another little neat feature I saw that I really liked. And these controls, if you have smaller thumbs like I do, it's not an average thumb, I'd say. I find this control set a whole lot easier to navigate than the new baggers, believe it or not. New baggers just feel a lot more spread out. But this feels very much more manageable for my fingers to get around. Let's see, how does it commute? That's another area that ADV bikes often get overlooked, is how good they are commuting. I mean, you have a bike that handles so good, does on-road and off-road. So it's almost like, imagine if you had a supermoto that you would not hate your life driving all the way, you know, if you lived a couple, like for campus, for example. Like if you lived an hour away from campus, you know, you probably don't want to ride that supermoto all the way down the highway back. But this thing, yeah, you've got all that power to go whip this thing wherever you want, but you know, you can go and go hop on the highway like it's nothing. Got all this crazy suspension. And this army green does look good. Mineral green denim deluxe, I think is the color. There's only one other bike I've seen out in the wild that was this color. I think it was just mineral green denim. And it was on a Road King Special. It looked good. Ooh, I think I've seen two. There was that one. There was another one that was all tricked out with gold accents. That one was hot. This one's cool, especially the big star on it. I think it's a really nice design, especially if you're not as sold on the logos that come all the way across both parts both the fairing and the tank, the two-piece emblems and such. Oh yeah, then you can stretch back a little bit. I don't love these grips. I like these grips, but the like tactile ones that are on the CVO that you can get, I love those. Those feel really good in the hand. They're just a little bit wider too, so they work out really nice. Another neat little trick. So if you're daytime, you can't really see that screen well, I can press and hold the home button, and I can change the contrast or change the colors up on the screen. So it's maybe that's a little bit easier for you to. That might be just a little bit easier for you to see. Oh, and it has heated grip stock. Yeah, I mean the Special, we really talked about it a lot. I mean the Special is just fully loaded down with all kinds of fun things. Now the ST, you still keep adaptive ride height, which is cool, but it's a little bit lower. You don't get quite as many special benefits. It's more of a stripped down, a little bit closer to that sport touring side. But you do get the quick shifter, you get the sport windshield. You get a few nice little perks, but for somebody really looking to go put some miles on and go hit some stuff that's a little bit more gnarly, I think the Special is still the way to go. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff on this screen. So this is the home screen, but I can tap my pages, and if I have my phone connected, that's really where it gets amped up. So I can see my music, my maps. So I can see that my front and rear tire pressure is good. Temperature's a little bit warm, but that's a temperature you would expect while you're sitting here completely stopped. All kinds of stuff I can change in my settings. I can ride customization. So I can actually go to my bank lamp amping. Yeah, this has, just because, what's one more thing? It has that feature. So basically the bike, since it has so many sensors telling itself how hard it's leaning, as you have this bike leaned, it'll actually go ahead and shine light directly in that corner. So you can push this bike even harder at night in the corners and still feel pretty confident. Again, all on a pretty much stock bike. This, like I said, this is pretty much a completely stock bike. Yeah, I got some upgrades for 24 and 25. But mainly with the stator, it has a larger battery in it. This one's got some software update. This Pan America Special, then be sure to come see us here at Back Road Harley-Davidson. So in the meantime, ride safe, and we hope to see you soon.